Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is gonna be effectively meant to be just me absolutely honestly talking about where I am currently in regards of the game, in regards of the boycott, and regards of everything else that is happening around the game. And more specifically, I'm gonna try and talk about Kabam's mentality itself and the kind of like corporate stance that they have been conveying throughout recent years as possibly the most underlying problem in the game in general. And before I get into the specific issue that I want to address, I also wanted to kind of like speak about myself and with the game currently. And the unfortunate fact is that I'm just losing a lot of my interest in the game personally right now, because the thing with mobile games, or the thing with pretty much anything in life, is there might be things about something that absolutely irritate you, that get you mad, or there might be the things that you absolutely love about something. But so long as they actually kind of like make you feel, they give you emotions, whether it's joy, whether it's less pleasant emotions, you realize that you do care about something. And in this case, I cared about something enough to make a YouTube channel and obviously dedicate quite a lot of time of my life already, like it's been 5 years, to play this said game. And there have always been things that I'm not a fan of in this game, but there have been things that I have absolutely loved about it. The problem is that it's not only the split that's changing. There are less and less and less things that I enjoy about this game, and there are more and more things that I dislike about this game. But the underlying problem with me personally right now is that I am stopping to care about it, and that is the biggest problem in any relationship. So long as it gives you emotion, so long as it actually gets you drawn in, and so long as you care about something, even the worst relationship can be mended as long as you're willing to work on it. And the biggest problem, the death of any relationship, is when you stop caring about something, when you simply can't force yourself to give one flying fuck about what's happening. That is when effectively the relationship is dying. And I feel myself closing to that point, because there have been like a ton of videos I kind of thought I should make within, I don't know, last 5-7 days. I don't know, when Kabam Mike posted about the goal change for map 6 and stuff like that. Just like one example. I probably should have made a video about what I think about it, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because the drive wasn't in there. And I took the screenshots. I was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to record it. And when it actually came to doing it, I was like, what's the point? And yeah, so that is a very kind of like scary new place to be for me personally, because I have never cared as little about Marvel Concept Champions as I do right now. And that is kind of like a very big signal to beginning of the end. Currently I am without an alliance. No, wait, that's a lie. I joined like a random alliance on a quick search pretty much. And I have received many offers from many different alliances about joining them for next season, many endgame alliances, many more relaxed alliances. But the truth of the matter is that currently, still today, I don't want to be playing next season. Like, I don't want to really open the game on my main account like daily, or be weighed down by alliance quest or alliance war. Yes, I will be missing out on a lot of rewards, but so what? So yeah, that's something that I have to figure out, and it will definitely be largely affected by what Kabam does next. And now that we have gotten about the initial kind of like my personal perspective of this game out of the way, somebody in the stream asked me today, what is the one thing, if you could change about Marvel Concept Champions to improve the game, you'd change? And that was like a very simple question, but at the same time it got me pondering quite a bit. And as I answered that question, I actually answered it pretty much immediately, and the answer was very simple. I simply said I would change the people who are making the game. I'd change the company that owns this game or runs this game, because effectively the game currently has a lot of problems, but the superficial problems can be fixed. There's not enough gold in economy. You can increase the gold. It's not a big thing to do. There's problem with, new champions being designed. You can make them better. There is a problem with how Act 6 came out to be. You can rework Act 6 and all of that will be fixed. All of these are superficial issues that underlie the baseline problem, which is the people making it and the intentions before making. Very first, I believe video, or one of the very first videos when this whole outrage situation started, pretty much like a month ago at this point, was two simple things to change MCOC, and the most important thing was the intent Kabam has behind designing new nodes and behind designing new content. But in a time when it is more important than ever for Kabam to appear understanding and appear to be engaged with community and engaged to helping people see them at a better light and helping people understand that they are trying, they are making far too many quote-unquote typical Kabam decisions. And what I mean by that, first and foremost, we're going to take a look at this announcement from Kabam Mike, obviously, because one of the biggest kind of like short-term roadmap posts was the change in Alliance Quest. Effectively, they proclaimed that they're making Alliance Quest cheaper, and they're introducing this alliance ticket system, which will reduce cost for map 6, map 7 alliances, and map 5 is free now. But at the same time, they neglected to mention, which was quote-unquote slipped through the comms or whatever, that they are reducing the amount of gold that map 6 alliances are getting back by exploring map 6 from 7,000 per day per battle group to 0. So somebody did the math in there, and there was like a bit of back and forth about the math, but effectively map 6 after the change will pretty much cost exactly the same thing, like plus minus like 20,000 over the cycle of AQ. So this whole advertisement of we are reducing the costs of AQ maps doesn't really apply to you if you're playing map 6, and because they are taking away all the gold you get for exploring these maps. So this, for instance, simply illustrates the baseline thought process against Kabam. They are far too worried about quote-unquote game economy. They are far too worried about giving you the bare minimum, that they are paying more attention to that than they are paying attention to bringing in people, making people enjoy the game, or just making sure that people are satisfied with the game. The baseline underlying principle of everything Kabam does recently is effectively, first and foremost, make sure you do not offer players more than you absolutely have to. And that has been the case for a really long time, whatever Kabam's doing. How many times that Act 6 rewards, they come out with Act 6 rewards and they're absolutely ghastly. Then everybody gets outraged, and then they add a little bit on top. Wouldn't it make more sense just to release Act 6 rewards, which are potentially maybe slightly too generous to players, just to make them happy and just to get them incentivized? But no, the quote-unquote game economy is more important, or, well, basically, it's more important for Kabam to offer you as little as they can for free, so they could sell you more for money. And the situation like that is just amplified here. It's like, what's the point of taking away this amount of gold from players when you quote-unquote declare that alliance maps should go down and stuff like that? Well, yeah, they go down by tiny amount. So technically, you're right. As a company, the Alliance Quest cost has gone down to map 6 players, but by so insignificant margin that it just basically makes you an asshole. Like, you're technically right from Big Lebowski, but you're an asshole. And this whole bare minimum psychology that Kabam is doing on players is extremely kind of like depressing. Another great example here I just saw on Twitter today was this Captain Marvel compensation. So they released a bugged content where Captain Marvel was one of the hardest fights in Abyss. It was arguably more expensive than the final boss was, and final boss is just an absolute revive suckage machine. And it was bugged. They fixed the bug, but they did not want to compensate anyone after public outrage. Once again, they said, okay, calm down, people. We're going to send out some compensation. But as they did that, they also made sure to compensate as little of the people as they possibly can. The baseline post this here reads that basically you only get compensation for this Abyss Captain Marvel change if you use the Mystic Champion on it. Which would make sense if that was like day one compensation for 1 day and the bug existed there for 1 day. Since it didn't, since it became clear in day one that it is an absolute nightmare of a fight and you need X, Y, or Z to counter it, if you didn't have Dr. Doom or some other Mystic Champion, for many people, for instance, best option would have been just bring in Aegon and deal as much damage as you can, as quickly as you can, revive back up, get hit, get those Furies, deal as much damage as you can, and just kind of like revive through that fight. Which is personally something that I did in one of my clears, I think. I think that's what I did for one of the parts, because I knew how painful that fight is. And if somebody, for instance, plans their initial Abyss path, they see that you pretty much need either Dr. Doom or you're just gonna end up using a lot of revives anyways, then you might as well figure that your best option would be to bring in a high damage dealing champion like Aegon instead of bringing in Mystic specifically for that fight kind of. And yeah, there are people who did it and they didn't receive the compensation, which is just shitty as hell. But it again underlines the base principle. So Kabam initial stance, nobody gets compensation. People get pissed off. Okay, we're gonna send out compensation, but only to as little amount of people kind of like as possible, because they are too worried that somebody is gonna get 10 extra revives. I personally don't understand kind of like thought process, how cheap of a bastard somebody has to be to make sure, yes, we messed up, it was our bug, it made players' lives absolute nightmare. No, we are absolute assholes and we did not want to compensate anybody for anything, but since you guys started crying so much, we're gonna send out compensation, but only if you happen to use Mystic Champion in that fight, because technically then only you get affected. But they fail to even have a comprehension of such a thing as a thought process or strategy or tactic, and they fail to understand that the fact that the fight was bugged altered people's strategy or tactic when it comes to approaching that fight. So as a direct result of that fight being bugged, some people didn't bother bringing in a Mystic Champion to clear that fight, because it was effectively just not overly effective strategy at the point because of their bug. But if that person wants a compensation, they can go and sod off, because technically that bug didn't affect them. It's a very, very stupid thought process. It's a very, very stupid thought process. It's kind of like if you get in an elevator that's broken, and you know for a fact that elevator is going to crash and you're going to receive significant injuries, and they refuse to acknowledge that, and somebody chooses to take stairs, then everybody kind of like, after the elevator gets fixed, well, you took the stairs. It's a bad comparison, but the point is the fact that she was bugged changed the way people approach that fight. And yeah, no. You do not get compensated if you didn't use Mystic characters. So I think this is just like one of those small things, and if I did any more digging, I could find dozens of more examples where Kabam is like an absolute bare minimum company. For instance, I remember when there was like an extended downtime and many people missed out on like days of side event or stuff like that. And Kabam took like a month to actually gather the data to send out compensation to people. And the compensation wasn't in a compensation in a sense of, we're sorry, here's something nice because we messed up. That compensation was composed effectively of the resources that you could have earned but didn't because of a downtime. Again, it's kind of like, we calculated what's the bare minimum amount we can give to you, and here you go. And that, again, extremely well highlights where, in my personal opinion, Kabam is coming from at everything they do in game. They are focused on bare minimum amount they can get away with when it comes to free stuff. and then they are focused on an absolute maximum amount of price tag that they can put on their offers for people still to buy them, as evidently seen by increasing prices of 6-star signature stones and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I personally do not believe that that kind of attitude can easily be changed. If somebody is a greedy bastard, chances are they're gonna die a greedy bastard, unless they have like Mr. Scrooge, Christmas, ghost of present, past and future visit them at night. It's extremely unlikely that they're gonna just wake up and change their ways. And that also leads me to say that I am extremely unsure whether I'm gonna be playing this game a month or two from now. I'm gonna stick around for a bit to see what happens. But obviously, for me personally, for a while I was, for instance, worried because YouTube does provide me with a certain amount of income as well. But then I realized that vast majority of the income that I get from YouTube, I end up putting back in the game anyways. And it's not like I don't have a job. I do have a very solid job that is more than enough to kind of like support me and my girlfriend. My girlfriend also works, and I can take care of myself for my salary. So losing that bit doesn't really affect my day-to-day. If anything, it would give me kind of like more free time, because as I said, vast majority of the money I do end up making from YouTube ad revenue pretty much always every single month more or less gets put back to my account, and if I don't play it, then I don't need it, kind of thought process there. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I've just been struggling in the last couple of days with dry motivation and also indecisiveness what I want to do. I guess I'm a bit lost currently, but every day this kind of like drags on. I just care a little bit less and less about the game, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think about Kabam's approach, whether you think they are well within their rights and they're doing the perfectly reasonable good thing, or you are sick and tired of their bare minimum approach as well, and where you are at the game currently. Are you excited for the changes that are coming, or you're more similar to the way I feel? But yeah, that will do for today. I know it's quite a long one, sorry for that, but this will be it. So if you have managed to stick around thus far, then Baby Yoda. Also, if you did manage to stick around thus far in the video, please leave a hashtag Baby Yoda in comment section, and that way I will know how many of the people actually watch my videos till the end, even if they are boring. But yeah, if you didn't like today's video though, or if you want to be a mean Kabam keyboard warrior, then you can show yourself out without stopping at the comment section. But that is it for me today, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.